The Ancient Mines is a great place to stop and farm if you're just getting into Nightmare with your 4 core builders at level 70. I've got a Wave 24 start here with some low stats if you're further into the game, but these are very achievable stats. If you get into farming the Ancient Mines, you'll get gear that will get your stats to this point very quickly. So for my Builder Apprentice, I've got 275 for Fortify, 800 power, 550 for range, 425 for defense rate. On my Trap Huntress, I've got 450 for Fortify, 800 power, 390 for range, and 360 for defense rate. My Aura Monk is at 700 for Fortify and power, 550 for range, and defense rate's at 150, and my Waller Squire is at 950 for Fortify. Now, what you can do is start running this build from Wave 1 with whatever stats you have, and as you push out further and further, you'll start getting better and better gear, level it up, and then at some point, well before Wave 25, you'll have gear that can get your stats to this point no problem. At Wave 14, you finish Wave 14, you're going to get some Mist of My Pets. These are going to be a huge boost in your stats, but you're going to run around really slow. I don't recommend using these guys for too long. You'll be able to finish out Wave 25 in the Ancient Mines pretty quickly and then get yourself some really nice giraffes. So these giraffe pets can be very, very good. I've got one just as an example here. I got a bunch of mythic. These are all from my test runs here. A lot of them are legendary. A lot of them, though, are mythic. And this one in particular was one of the best mythics I got. Level 90 with well over 200 points for all of your builder stats. And I actually did manage to snag one Transcendent Giraffe from all of my stat runs. Just, you know, from my test runs, just to put it out there, you can get Transcendent Giraffes. You can also get some Transcendent gear from running this. I did actually get some Transcendent items here. These are all Transcendent items from running this, believe it or not. I actually got these into my inventory from running the Ancient Mines. You wouldn't think trans gear, but yeah, it's all level 83 gear, so you wouldn't be able to use it right away. Just throw it out there. You can get some nice pieces, but you'll start getting gear with 40 plus max upgrades at Wave 10 or 15, depending on if it's on the floor or the chest. You'll start getting good gear, and you can definitely get your stats to this point well before you get to finishing it. And once you can start finishing it reliably, you'll get even better stats, and you'll be able to have this on lock pretty quickly. Now, what I recommend you do at this point in the game, if you're just getting into Nightmare, is that you make some new characters. Now, what you can do is make yourself, if you have only your 4 core builders, the best thing to do is make yourself a new Monk, Huntress, and Squire. You're going to be using these characters a ton, and it is so easy to level new characters to level 70 at this point in the game. What you can do is just slot them in after you set up your build so that they're getting experience. And just as a reference, I hit from level 1 to 68 in 2 Wave 24 starts. I did Wave 24 and Wave 25, finished it twice, and my new Monk got from level 1 to level 68. I did one more Wave 24 start, and from finishing just Wave 24, boom, he was level 70. Just like that, in less than a half hour, a new character at level 70. You can do 3 new characters all at once, just slot them in with the builders that you're not using when you're running your waves and you're farming this out. And if you do this in particular with your Monk, throw some ancient gear on him, level up his skill, and he will come in handy. I'll showcase him later on in the video. Slap a speedy gemstone on him too if you have one from running the Insane Campaign Summit Hardcore. You may have a decent speedy gemstone. One with at least level 11 is going to be great to affect 2 towers with a 61.7% boost. You'll see what I mean later on, but you know, this is a great farm to get into and commit yourself to for a little while. It will set you up so well for the rest of mid-game, for the rest of Nightmare. You'll get some great gear, and you'll be able to get these kind of numbers on your stats well before you finish it, so you'll be able to do this no problem. And with all of that out of the way, let's jump into it. Alright, we'll be taking advantage of the fact that this is a pretty small map. We'll be boosting a stack of DSTs, I'm sure that's no surprise. A little stack of 4 right in the middle of the map is going to be all we need to get through this entire thing. I'm going to start with a spike blockade here, and I line it up with that little rock on the left side, and swapping over to my Huntress, I drop a gas trap, and I just keep the wall inside the trigger range there, right in front of that gas trap. Gonna drop an ensnare and a strength drain aura, and then I'm gonna hop up here and drop a flame burst, just barely on top of this rock, right on the back, just barely so that it's on top of the rock to get that little bit of height advantage. Finally, 3 level ups on the flame burst, 3 on the spike blockade, 3 on the strength drain, and then 1 level up on the ensnare. Going to swap over to my squire here, drop a couple spike blockades. Now I line them up with that little rock that pops out just a little bit. I line them up with the front of that rock, and I just go straight across to cover this gap here at the smallest point in that gap. And I drop an explosive trap on the little rock here, and an inferno trap on the little rock on this side, the little rocks next to the big rocks where those traps go, and then in between the two spike blockades, I'll drop a gas trap. All we'll need to stop those Sharkin from charging into our walls. Going to switch on over to the Aura Monk, and right between the two traps on the lower rock, I'm going to drop an ensnare and a strength drain. 3 levels on the strength drain, 4 levels on that wall, 3 levels on this wall. This one takes less damage. And then 1 on the inferno trap, 2 levels on the explosive trap, 1 on the ensnare. Then going to switch on over to my apprentice here, and just barely on top of this rock here on the front of it there, just barely on top of that rock, I'm going to have a flame burst tower pointing at the inferno trap, basically 3 levels on that as well, and that'll set up the lanes. Now going to drop the DST stack here. I go up on this plank, and that's the first one I set up, and I'm going to line up the right side of the DST's aim with the little piece of wood that's holding up that rafter on the right side of the on the map side there. You can see there's a rafter, and there is a piece of wood that's kind of acting as a support beam. I'm lining up the right side of my DST's aim with that support beam there. That's how I'm gauging this. That's my reference point. You'll see that support beam turn yellow on the right side there of the map, and that's more or less what I'm using as my reference point to line up my DSTs. With the 4th one down, I'm going to throw 3 level ups on each of these DSTs, and then we will be good to go. I'm going to speed up a good portion of this run because it is straight up just me camping these DSTs. Going to cut to a wave 1 start here. If you don't need to know this, just skip to 9 minutes and 23 seconds. But for wave 1, it's really simple. I'm just going to drop some explosive traps around the map. 1 in the far left lane, that's a single lane. 1 right in front of the crystal. 1 blocking that double lane. And that's all you'll need. You can G up and then get going on the Huntress for some bonus damage on those explosive traps. Afterwards, just collect the mana, and then we're going to have enough to drop our first 3 DSTs at the start of Wave 2. Going to be the same first 3 DSTs that we did for the Wave 24 start, and these 3 DSTs are important to drop for Wave 2 because during Wave 2, we'll actually see some Jinn and Sharkin, so having these DSTs ready to go for the start of Wave 2 is going to help take out those Jinn and Sharkin. They'll be all the damage you need. These Wave 2 Jinn and Sharkin are pretty weak compared to Wave 24. For Wave 3, I'm going to go around, collect all the mana, and then I'll basically build out most of the lanes. I'm going to drop my walls here, same as we did before, and then the traps can go down as well. Now we won't have quite enough mana to complete the full build, but this double lane we will be able to complete no problem. Here goes the gas trap down, and then of course going to switch over to drop my ensnare and strength drain on that lower rock there, just like we did for the Wave 24 start, and then I will also have enough mana to drop my flame burst here, just barely on top of the rock. Same as before, no big deal there. Heading on over now, what you could leave this explosive trap up. I end up selling it here, but in retrospect, you could have just left it up. I could have left it here, but I do set the lane up as though I'm doing the full build, and you know, at this point you don't have any damage in the lane, but since it's so early on, the 3 DSTs that are set up are going to be plenty of damage to clear out the minor enemies that come down this lane, so just setting up the crowd control on the wall is actually not going to be a big deal, but you could have left that explosive trap there if you wanted to. But gonna G up here, and these 3 DSTs are going to be plenty enough to take care of everything that would come down. So for the 4th wave, gonna go around, collect the mana, and finish off the build, dropping that flame burst there, and then the 4th DST to complete the build, and that'll be enough to get us going into the full build all the way through as far as you can push this build from a Wave 1. And we're back. Gonna G up here and get things going in our Wave 24 start here, and I pretty much boost as soon as the DSTs start doing damage. I'm gonna speed up a good portion of this run because it literally is just me sitting here boosting a stack of DSTs, but I will say that the timing on the overdrive can be important. Now, what I try to do is maintain a 100% uptime on the overdrive during the portion of the wave that the Djinn and Sharken are coming out. So typically what I'll do is I'll overdrive my towers, and then I'll listen for 7 shots, and then that's generally when, with this defense rate, I need to re-up the overdrive. It basically lasts for about 2 seconds longer than the 5-second duration that it's down for after you use it. You can hear when the DSTs slow down again. That might be a better cue for when to re-up that, but you'll see here that I give them 1 more overdrive, which is that's enough to take out that last Sharken. And now there's a decent break in the waves. Now you could pop out off of your DST stack and run around and do a couple things during some of these gaps. I do actually showcase that during wave 25 when I don't actually need to do anything, but I just wanted to show that you don't need to do that for wave 24. So I wait until that ogre is about halfway down the lane before I start overdriving again, and then I try to maintain the overdrive at a 100% uptime during the time that the ogre is in the lane. That first one is kind of ideal to come out of the middle lane. I like him out of the middle lane. That's my favorite. If I could pick a lane for these ogres to come out of, it would be the middle lane for both, because the DSTs have an easier time targeting that one. You can see on the right side that ogre is kind of clogged up. The orcs kind of clog the lane a little bit, but once that ogre makes it to the wall, I'll start overdriving again. That way the DSTs have a better chance of taking him out in a reasonable amount of time. The DSTs don't really like targeting the ogre in that far right lane as much as the middle lane and the left lane, but eventually he will go down. That is exactly why we put 4 level ups on that wall, and it's to keep it up, because obviously, you know, you can see that that wall takes quite a beating when the ogre does come down that lane, but it's got enough HP with this amount of Fortify to hold up just fine. And, you know, if that wall goes down for you, it's not the end of the world. Generally speaking, what happened anytime that wall went down during my tests is that all of the enemies would just default to the wall next to it. The ogre would literally he would walk over and start hitting that wall instead. So not the end of the world if that one goes down, but that'll be wave 24 here. Just going to go around and collect the mana, and then generally speaking, the upgrade priority is the stuff that looks the lowest. So obviously that one wall will get an upgrade, and then the explosive trap, the strength drain, they get upgrades. I generally just repair the ensnare aura and the inferno if it's needed, but it almost never is. The inferno is always fine, but that wall that was low, that gets an upgrade. The other one just gets repaired. It never went down for me ever. It never even came close. But I do level up the flame bursts and the wall in this lane, as well as the strength drain, because if both ogres come down this lane, it tends to get pretty ugly, and that wall can get really low. So I do upgrade that one as well. But I do also just check the chest loot out, just to give you an idea of what kind of loot you can expect. 70 plus upgrades on some level 70 and 78 gear here, just to showcase what you can get out of that chest. But gonna G up, and I speed this one up quite a bit too. It is the exact same game plan. I boost for as much uptime as I can throughout the portion of the wave where the Djinn and Sharken come down. Try to keep that boost up, counting my shots, paying attention to when the towers slow down to re-up on my overdrive. Now, the main thing you want to do with the overdrive is not overlap it, because then you're wasting player mana. You just don't want to do it too soon. It's better to do it with a bit of a gap rather than trying to do it too soon. You don't want to waste your player mana. It is not the most MP efficient, player mana efficient boost that you can do with a hero. So this is another gap in the wave, and now I think I hop out and do some things just to showcase the fact that yes, you can. You can kind of play a little game of the floor is lava and jump around between the DST stack, the crystals, and that little island out there to do things if you need to. If, say, you know, your flame burst gets really low, because you can see that obviously it's taking some snot balls. That's going to happen. I got another lucky ogre there, but yeah, I just jump out to showcase that you can do it if you want to. I generally didn't need to with these stats, but if you have lower stats and you need to, you totally can. You just have to be mindful of the spiders. If you get webbed and then you get attacked, it can get pretty sketchy. But if you jump up to the top, planks of wood there on that platform. Usually there's only 1 or 2 spiders that go up there, and if you have a DPS weapon on your apprentice, which I recommend, you can do some damage and take out a spider if you need to. But again, I jump over to showcase that, you know, if you needed to save something, you could totally do it. You could totally jump out and do that, no problem. And especially during the wave, the portion of the wave where there are no ogres, you know, once those ogres are down, you pretty much have it in the bag. Even if you lose a strength drain aura or a wall or something like that at this point, it really doesn't matter because the ogres are the main threats for this map. Once they are down, you pretty much have the win in the bag. So you can see here, coming down to the end, I just boost my DST sec at this point just to help speed things along. It's not necessary, you don't need to, but that'll be the W for us. That's the victory for the Wave 24 start with our 4 core builders. Again, going to check out the draft. That's not bad. Level 80 mythic, not too bad. You can see a mythic shield there, and I do just poke around and check the loot out a little bit. Any pieces of gear that are 40 plus with all 4 builder stats are going to be pretty good. You know, just grab a full set of whatever. It doesn't have to be minor for a builder. I know a lot of people think it needs to be minor. It doesn't. It can be anything. So, you know, keep an eye out for good pieces with all 4 builder stats, or maybe just, you know, anything without fortify would be fine for your builder apprentice. But I go back in and show that it is in fact the same stats as I had in my tavern. I do show that at the end of all of these build runs, of course. But yeah, that'll do it for this run. You know, I am going to cut over actually to the monk, the boost monk, and give you an idea of what that looks like. So in this clip, the build is already set up, and I'm just swapping out my apprentice for my freshly made boost monk for this build, just flipping through to show his speedy gemstone and his stats again. 800 skill, really not that hard to hit. If you're just throwing a bunch of ancient gear on him, they always roll with skill. So now, one thing I like about running a boost monk for this run is that, you know, obviously you can overdrive your towers in the same fashion as you would boost towers on a boost monk, but to do the overdrive, you have to turn the power on, hit your secondary skill or your attack, your right click or whatever it would be for a controller, and then turn the hero boost off. It's 3 inputs. For the monk, it's 1. You just hit the hero boost, and that, or you just hit the skill button, and that's it. And you get a lot more overlap too in terms of when the boost runs out versus when you can cast it again. It's a 5-second overlap, so it's really easy to maintain a 100% uptime comparatively. You can't really hold the overdrive up 100% of the time. You do run out of player mana eventually, but for the tower boost for the monk, you can have this up the entire time without issue. You know, those ogres, they go down really, really fast, and I'm just cutting between the ogres here. You can watch as the ogres go down very quickly without much issue. It's just really easy to do this on the boost monk, which is why I recommend it. And literally after the ogres go down, when you're running this on a boost monk, you can AFK. You know, your speedy gemstone is going to maintain the attack speed bonus on 2 of your towers permanently, and your boost is going to have these DSTs hitting so hard that you do actually kill the ogres a little faster with a boost monk, a modest boost monk with only 800 skill, than you would with your apprentice, in spite of the active builder bonus for your DST stack. Something to keep in mind. You know, you absolutely should make these new characters and level them to level 70, and your boost monk is just going to give you, you're going to get so much mileage out of a boost monk. But here's another giraffe, another mythic there. Pretty good range roll on the stats, and you know, just going to go around and check out some other gear just to give you an idea of what you're in store for with this farm. That's a great piece there. All 4 builder stats on a mythic minor helmet. You know, anytime you see all 4 builder stats, that's good stuff. Get a full set on all of your builders with all 4 builder stats, regardless of what type of armor, and you'll be in good shape. There's my giraffe collection again. One more time. Yeah, I ran this quite a bit. There's the trans giraffe that I got from this map. I ran this a ton, and I really have a lot of faith in this build. So give it a shot. Let me know how it goes for you. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and thank you so much for watching.